Good evening and welcome to Prime Time News here on TV1. I'm Disal Kapuge for News First, the voice of the people. Before we get into the stories in detail, let's first take a
All government schools to reopen tomorrow. Special transport facilities arranged for passengers travelling to Colombo from outstation areas. Anointing oil state ceremony held in Biyagama. Galgamua celebrates Sinhala and Tamil New Year in style. Amnesty International calls on the Biden administration to intervene against Sri Lanka's proposed Anti-Terrorism Act. Former Indian politician shot dead on live TV. Dimut and Kusal put on record-breaking partnership in the first ever test against Ireland.
And now in your top story, the Ministry of Education says that all government schools will reopen tomorrow. In a statement, the Ministry of Education says that the new school term will continue until the beginning of the GCE ordinary level examination. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says that letters of admission will not be issued for admission to intermediate grades due to the issuance of a new circular regarding the admission of students to intermediate classes in national schools, which will come into effect from the 20th of April. Now moving on with the news, Amnesty International has called on the Biden administration to intervene in Sri Lanka's proposed Anti-Terrorism Act, saying the draft law categorically fails on every human rights benchmark.
In a statement, Amnesty International USA, quoting Amnesty International Asia Advocacy Director, said the draft Anti-Terrorism Act categorically fails on every human rights benchmark. She stressed, quote, if the Biden administration values the rights of the Sri Lankan people, they need to send a clear message to President Ranil Wickremesinghe that this law must be overhauled entirely or scrapped altogether, unquote. She said if the administration and Congress are silent as this draft law advances, they will allow the Sri Lankan government to further cement its ability to suppress dissent. She added, quote, the proposed legislation is an insult to civil society in Sri Lanka, who have advocated for decades for legal reforms to protect human rights. This is far from a good faith effort on the part of the Sri Lankan authorities to improve or replace a bad law, and it is an effort to show up the government's ability to target and silence their critics, unquote. According to Amnesty International South Asia researcher Tyagi Ruan Patirana, the drafters of the ATA have not taken into account the benchmarks laid out by the UN experts in order to come up with a counter-terror law that would start to bring the legislation in line with international law. She said, it is clear after the mass protests last year, the state has become even more willing to misuse counter-terrorism offences in order to target activists. This is reflected in new offences created that seek to classify acts of civil disobedience as terror offences.
Leader of the Jatika Jana Balawege, Anura Kumara Disanayake, made these comments during a public meeting held today in South Korea.
Stand up and write about or speak out against oppression. Then Ranil thinks to himself, if you stand up, I will bring laws to stop you. I will make all services essential services. If a trade union obstructs it, I will suspend them. If someone demands that the suspension be lifted, I will suspend them as well. If someone posts on Facebook against it, I will arrest them as well. Why are they doing this? According to the law, Gotabaya Rajapaksa was elected in 2019 for a 5-year term. One has to finish that 5-year term, according to the constitution. Therefore, no matter what laws Ranil Wickremesinghe brings forward to frighten the people, if the people don't abide by them, they can't stop these laws from turning into mere pieces of discarded paper. Which means, no matter what laws Ranil Wickremesinghe brings forward, they will be invalid laws.
The auspicious time for the anointing of oil in line with the Sinhala and Tamil New Year took place at 9:41 this morning.
A procession was held at the Horana Olaboduwa Rajamaha Viharaya in line with the anointing of oil ceremony. Eslon and Sirasa TV, which are two subsidiaries of the Capital Maharaja Group, contributed to this colourful event. The anointing of oil at the historic Natha Devala premises in Kandy was held under the auspices of the Mahasangha, including the chief incumbents of the Malbatu and Askari chapter. During this event, the Tusker Buruma was anointed with sacred oil. The indigenous community of Sri Lanka also participated in an oil anointing ceremony in line with the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. The ceremony was held at the Dambana Kotabakiniya village under the auspices of their leader Vishwakirti Vanaspati Urwarige Vanilatto. Another oil anointing ceremony took place near the Jayashri Mahabodhiya, held with the blessings of the Mahasangha, led by the Attamastana Dipati Dr. Pallegama Hemarathanathero. An event was also held at the Gangarame in Colombo in line with the anointing of oil ceremony. The elephants at the Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage were also anointed with oil today. Animals at the Dehiwala Zoo were also anointed with oil.
How did transport services operate today?
People who travelled to their hometowns to celebrate the new year were seen returning to Colombo since this morning. A large crowd was seen at the Bogambara bus terminal in Kandy today.
අපි බොහෝ වෙලාවක් මේ පොලිමේ රැඳී සිටිනවා හෙට දුවනවා මෙහෙට දුවනවා අප්‍රමාද නොවි මේ බස් සේවා සපයනවා නම් ඒක මම හිතන්නේ මහ ජනතාවට කරන උපරිම සේවාවක් වශයෙන් අපි සලකනවා.
A large number of people were also seen at the Hatton bus terminal this morning. Although there were enough buses at the Badulla main bus stand today, there were not many people. People were also seen at the Gaul main bus terminal. An increase in the number of vehicles travelling along the Southern Expressway was also witnessed. A considerable amount of passengers heading to Colombo were seen at the Polonnaruwa Kadurwela bus terminal.
What is the status of the train service?
The Hatton railway station was also packed with passengers this morning. The Department of Railways said that more than 30 train journeys had to be cancelled today. A senior official said this was because train drivers did not report to work. He said that long distance services have been given priority at all stations.
What plans are in place for tomorrow's transport services?
The Department of Railways said that all necessary measures have been taken for the operation of long-distance trains, including office trains for tomorrow. The department said, according to the drivers' availability, some trains on all routes may have to be cancelled tomorrow as well. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Transport Board said that special bus services will be in operation tomorrow for the people who travel to their hometowns for the new year to return to Colombo.
As the largest independent news network in Sri Lanka, News First for over 3 decades have worked to ensure the people's right to information. With the support of its network of regional correspondents, News First has highlighted many issues faced by the people across all social parameters. As the country continues to celebrate the Sinhala and Hindu New Year, News First took matters to one of the most rural parts of Sri Lanka.
This year, the resilient farming community of Galgamuwa, who toil hard day and night amidst wild elephant attacks to feed the nation, celebrated the traditional New Year in style. The festivities took place at the UB Vanninayaka grounds in Galgamuwa. Galgamuwa, or Satkoralaya, is a village located in the northwestern province at the edge of the Kurunegala district, close to the border of the Anuradhapura district. For the people of Galgamuwa, farming is not just a livelihood, it's a way of life. This time around, News First celebrated the New Year, giving priority to long-lasting traditions. New Year celebrations got underway after the opening ceremony. Children of Galgamuwa showcased their talents at the opening ceremony, which included more colourful traditional entertainment items. Many invitees took part in the opening ceremony, including the Galgamuwa Divisional Secretary E.P. Vikramasinghe, Chairman of the Galgamuwa Pradeshiya Sabha Nimal Ratnayaka, District Assistant Superintendent of Police Jayantha Gunawardana, Officer in charge of the Galgamuwa Police Station, Chief Inspector M.M.S.P. Kumara, Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group Shivan Daniel, Director General Manager of News First Yasarat Kamalsri, Channel Head of News First Surangasena Nayaka, Director News First Gayan Sampath, Director Sirasa FM YFM News First Vasanta Pradeep Masinghage, Director of News First Digital K. Myron, and News Director Roshan Batavala.
The colonizers were unable to destroy us owing to several reasons. One reason is the rich earth we lay claim to. Another reason is the continuous sunlight we experience throughout 365 days. Another reason is biodiversity. If you unite together, we will be able to take this country forward. If we do that, our country can go beyond the title of the Pearl of the Indian Ocean. This country has people with different skills, but we were inactive recently due to many problems. We need to wake up once again.
Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group Shivan Daniel also spoke at the event.
අපේ රට ඉල්ලන දෙයක් තමයි නව නායකත්වය. නායකත්වය විදි දෙකකට භාවිතා කරන්න.
Sri Lankans are yearning for fresh leadership. Leadership can be used in two different ways. It can be used to destroy, divide and suppress. That is the weakest form of leadership. I believe that creating something through love, compassion and kindness is the highest form of leadership. Therefore, as we ponder this new year, let's try to shift onto a new path. Now that is true leadership.
අලුත් අවුරුද්ද ගැන හිතනකොට අපි උත්සාහ කරමු. අලුත් මාවතකට යොමු වෙන්න. අන්න එයයි සැබෑ නායකත්වය.
In keeping with traditions, people of Galgamuwa took part in many traditional sporting events such as Kottapora, cycling, marathons and tug of war. Traditional New Year events such as Aurudu Kumariya and Kumariya contests also took place. Many institutions, including the Galgamuwa Municipal Trade Welfare Association, Galgamuwa Divisional Secretariat, Galgamuwa Pradeshiya Sabha and Sri Lanka Police extended their unwavering support in making this endeavour successful. Despite the scorching heat, children of Galgamuwa took part in singing and dancing competitions. Winners of these competitions were awarded valuable prizes. Team Royal Stars won the volleyball tournament of the New Year Festival in Galgamuwa. Royal Stars defeated Puravasan Kulama by 2-0.
තරගේ ජය තහවුරු කරගත්තා රොයල් ස්ටාර්ස් කණ්ඩායම මෙන්න සත්කෝරළේට අවුරුදු 2023 බක් මහවරලේ වොලිබෝල් ශූරයන් දවස පුරා පැවැත්වුණු ඒ වොලිබෝල් තරගාවලියේ අවසන් මහා තරගයට ප්‍රබල කණ්ඩායම් දෙකක්.
Members of the News First team also took part in the sporting events.
පළමු වටේ හරි 2 3 කින්ස්ලි වසන්ත මාසිංහගේ ෂුවර් නෑ දුවන පැත්ත ෂුවර් නෑ දුවන පැත්ත
ඔක්කාන්ත අනියෝජනය පළමු ලබා දෙමු උණුසුම් අපල සන්නාදයක් මං හිතන්නේ පාලනයයි වැදගත් හරි තාරකා කෙලින් දිව්වා හරි
කෙලින්
ඔළුව තියන්න ඕනේ ගියාන් උද්‍යෝග ඒ වගේම පසන් අභියෝගය බාරගත්තා ආව් ඉතාමත් හොඳින් තරග වදිනවා තරගකරු යන්නේ මං හිතන්නේ ඕ තාමර ජයග්‍රහණය මං හිතන්නේ වාර්තා වෙන පළවෙනි ස්ථානයේ හරි
රොෂාන් වටවලකෝ
Nayanajit Patirana was selected as the Aurudu Kumaraya of the New Year Festival.
අපි ලබා දෙමු උණුසුම් අත්පොළ සන්නාදයක් ඔහුට
J.A. Madhushani Maheshika was crowned the Aurudu Kumariya.
අරගෙන ගල්ගමුවට ආපු වෙලාවේ අවුරුදු කුමරිය බවට පත් වූ ඇයට හිමි කිරුල පළඳවන්නට ලබා දෙමු උණුසුම් අපොළ සන්නාදයක් ඇයට ඇගේ ජීවිතයේ වටිනාම අවස්ථාවක් වනවා නොඅනුමානයි.
The New Year celebrations in Galgamuwa capped off with a colourful star-studded musical festival.
News first with the people.
Adults must always keep an eye on their children. One moment is all it takes before something tragic can happen.
අද නිල් පාට ෂර්ට් එකයි ක්‍රීම් පාට කලිසමයි ඇඳලා මගේ සුදු බෝල කැටේ වගේ හිටියේ.
Niven, a resident of Dangwattagoda in Alutgama, is just 2 years and 7 months old. He visited his ancestral home in Pamankada of Nelua with his mother, father and brother to spread the joy of the new year yesterday. But their joy was short-lived. At around 4 p.m, Niven, who was playing inside the house, went missing. Although the relatives and neighbors searched the area till dusk, they could not find him. They recommenced the search for Niven with the help of officers at the Palavatta army camp this morning. Unfortunately, Niven's lifeless body was discovered around 2 kilometers downstream of the Rankata stream that flows beside the house. The body was later handed over to the Nelua District Hospital for the post-mortem examination. The body of a missing person who drowned in the Kalani River was recovered this morning. The 42-year-old father of two was identified as a resident of Pattiyahandiya in Kalaniya. The person in question met with his fate on the 14th while he was on a pilgrimage with his wife and 2 children in Tanakolavatta, Yatiyantota. During the trip, his wife had slipped and fallen into a 30-foot deep crevasse in the Kalani River. Our correspondent reported that the person in question drowned while attempting to save his wife and helping her onto a canoe. Search operations were carried out for 2 days until the body was recovered this morning near a rock about 50 meters from where he disappeared. A person who went for a swim in the Mahavali River near Namalgama in Dehiyattakandiya drowned last afternoon. Supun Dilshan was a 32-year-old father of 3. Area residents discovered the body last evening.
Two women of the same family died in a motor accident in Onagama of Valekade in Polonnaruwa.
The accident occurred when a lorry and a Landmaster tractor collided head-on. At the time of the accident, around 11 people were in the tractor while the driver and one person were inside the lorry. The people inside the lorry were not injured in the accident, while 2 women who were traveling in the tractor had succumbed to their injuries. 9 others were injured and taken to the hospital. The 2 sisters, H.W. Nelumkanti, aged 46, and H.W. Kumuduni Arunashanti, aged 47, were residents of Athumalpitiya. The injured are receiving treatment at the Polonnaruwa General Hospital. The driver of the lorry was produced before the acting magistrate of Polonnaruwa and remanded for 7 days. Further investigations into the accident are underway.
Former Indian politician shot dead live on television.
The spring meetings of the Board of Governors of the World Bank Group and the International Monetary Fund have concluded. The debt restructuring negotiation process on Sri Lanka by India, Japan and France was launched during the week-long meeting. Meanwhile, State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinha met with global leaders on the sidelines of the IMF spring meetings.
State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinha met with President of the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank Jin Lee Kun. Discussions focused on how the AIIB and Sri Lanka could work together closely in financing sustainable infrastructure development. Lee Kun had assured that the AIIB will support Sri Lanka to overcome the crisis. During a meeting with co-chair of the Paris Club Secretariat William Roos, the State Minister discussed the progress made so far on the debt restructuring process and the important role played by the Paris Club in this process. State Minister Shehan Semasinha also met with the Deputy Vice Minister for International Affairs of Japan, Kentaro Ogata. CBSL Governor Dr. Nandalal Virasinghe also joined the meeting. Deputy Vice Minister Ogata recalled the long history of friendship between Sri Lanka and Japan and reaffirmed Japan's priority to assist Sri Lanka in the debt negotiation process. He also met with JICA's Senior Vice President for South Asia, Imoto Sachiko, on the sidelines of the IMF spring meetings. She reiterated JICA's commitment to support Sri Lanka's economic recovery and said she eagerly awaits to resume the Japan-funded development projects in Sri Lanka. State Minister Shehan Semasinha also met with the Deputy Minister of Finance of Brazil, Tatiana Rosito, to discuss Sri Lanka's progress in implementing economic reforms and debt negotiations. The Deputy Minister expressed Brazil's support for Sri Lanka's rapid recovery.
Sri Lankan Airlines flight UL 605 from Melbourne to Colombo was delayed for more than 24 hours due to technical difficulties. The flight was scheduled to leave Melbourne at 4:10 p.m. yesterday.
The Sri Lankan Airlines flight UL 605 flying from Melbourne to Colombo, which was scheduled to leave Melbourne last afternoon, was rescheduled to fly at 4:30 p.m. today. However, it was once again delayed. When News First inquired, Sri Lankan Airlines spokesperson Deepal Pereira said airline had dispatched a crew from Sri Lanka to Melbourne in response to the situation.
UL 605 flight from Melbourne to Colombo was delayed due to technical reasons, and to rectify that we had to send our crew from Colombo to Melbourne, and they have gone there and they have refixed the aircraft. We are hoping to bring back those stranded passengers leaving Melbourne time 12:30 in the midnight. So far we have managed to reroute some of the passengers who were really needed to come to Colombo. We have accommodated all the passengers, and we regret what they were also went through.
A former Indian politician convicted of kidnapping has been shot dead on live TV along with his brother. Viewer discretion is advised. Power struggle between Sudan's army and a notorious paramilitary force has rocked the country, with more than 50 civilians reported dead. In total, at least 595 people have been injured. 3 employees for the World Food Programme, a UN body that delivers food assistance to vulnerable communities, were killed after the RSF and armed forces exchanged fire at a military base in Kabkabia, in the west of the country. The first test between the host Sri Lanka and the visiting island side was held at the Galle International Cricket Stadium today. After winning the toss and opting to bat first, the home side were 386 for 4 wickets at stumps.
Sri Lankan captain Dimuth Karunaratne won the toss and decided to bat first. The opening pair of Dimuth Karunaratne and Nishan Madushka put on 64 runs for the first wicket. Madushka was dismissed for 29 runs. The skipper and Kusal Mendis then proceeded to rebuild the Sri Lankan innings. Karunaratne played a captain's knock, crossing the 100-run mark in 139 balls. This was his 15th test ton. Also, Mendis, who provided him with invaluable support, scored his 8th test century. Karunaratne and Mendis put out a partnership of 281 runs for the second wicket. It was the highest second wicket partnership in a test match at the Galle International Cricket Stadium. Mendis was dismissed for 140. Angelo Matthews was dismissed without scoring, while Karunaratne was dismissed for 179 runs. He scored 15 boundaries.
And that's a wrap of Prime Time News here on TV1. As always, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, take care, and have a good night.